right, I'm going to start all over again. This is the third time. But it's windy here. It's been a while since I did a video. It's windy here, and we actually got a little bit of sleet earlier. It was crazy. I was at work and looked out and it was trying to sleet. It was insane. But anyway, you guys don't care about that. Make sure that you do like, share, and subscribe. I have gotten hundreds, and it looks about that. I haven't went through and actually counted, but there's a lot. I have hundreds of emails from different topics. Skimming through, one of the big ones has been tell us the truth about Tacoma, meaning is it growing, is it not growing, and where would be the best place to live in Tacoma. And my answer has not changed. It's kind of tweaked a little bit, and there's a better name for it. But I would say downtown Tacoma is going to always be your best bet. Tacoma is still growing. It's growing pretty fast. It's growing at about 1.2% a year. To give you a little bit of an idea, Spokane is growing at 0.5. So we're growing double almost we are growing double that of Spokane, to give you an idea. And Spokane's growing pretty fast, but Tacoma's growing even faster. Our economy here has done much better than Portland, Seattle, that type of thing, and our current standing is better. We've attracted a lot of attention, a lot of investment recently, and that's going to continue. Right now, if it was prior to COVID, we would probably have a lot of office buildings probably going up, but we don't. Right now, offices are in big demand because of so much growth in mid-sized cities. If you didn't know, Tacoma is supposed to grow by 147,000 people by the year 2050. That's based on the city's estimates and other different metrics and all these other people that run stats and data. 147,000 people by the year 2040. That is a massive amount of people, especially given that Tacoma's population officially in 2024 is probably in the neighborhood of 223,000 to 226,000, somewhere in that neighborhood, right? But people don't know about downtown. And so what you're seeing now is an image of downtown and other areas, right? When you look at the Tacoma Link light rail, it covers all of what is downtown. Now, some people will disagree and say, well, that's not true. Downtown has a certain section, a certain street, and all of this. I get that. But the easiest way to understand that you're in downtown, or what's considered to be the downtown regional growth area, is to follow the Link light rail. So where it starts in the Dome District all the way to where it ends in Hilltop, all and everything in between, all of that's considered to be the downtown regional area, right? And when you consider the size, it's pretty large. It includes the Dome District, or a portion of the Dome District, which includes the Tacoma Dome, where all the housing's going in at. It includes that, the Brewery District. It includes, Old Town, Hilltop, Hillside, Stadium District, the Waterway, the Central Business District, all of those areas. And right now, if you add up the population of people who live in that area, now this is not all of Hilltop, because if you include all of Hilltop, the population goes up much higher. It's just in that map that you're looking at, the population is somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 to 15,000 people. And the reason why there's a range, I think the actual number is closer to 13,000 and something. The reason why there's a range is because there have been so many apartment buildings that have opened up recently, and we just don't know the number, right? Exactly officially yet. But the estimate's around 13,000. So some say between 12 to 15, because there are so many different little infill projects that pop up. And sometimes those get missed. Now, not by the city officially. The city has official numbers, and it still nurses that 13,000 range. But again, that's not super current data. That means that's data from 2020 all the way up to maybe 2021, 2022. So we don't know about 23 or 24, and there were apartments that did open, In fact, the time that report was ran, the Rook, which is this giant building downtown, was still in development. They just now opened that building. And there's a few more, the Moraine, I believe, and some others that were in construction and they're finishing them up, right? If you look at downtown now, or the downtown regional district, it is covered in apartments going up. We have the Cornelius House. There's other projects in the Dome District that are going up. So estimates say, and this is official information, right, from the city, that about 800 apartment units opened up in 2023. 800 units, right? Now, I like to do the multiplier effect of about 2.5 because some of those are studios up to 2 bedrooms or greater. So to make it even more simpler, that's about 1,600 people who could move in into those apartments that have opened up just in 2023. That's 1,600 additional people. We haven't gotten to the real number yet, which is going to shock you when I do say this. Now, we have a lot of others that are going to be opening up in 2025, which is also a pivotal year. 2025 helps us gauge what happened from 2020 up until now and where we're heading. I'm going to pivot a little bit. Downtown Seattle's population is about 106,000 people. So it's about half the size of the entire population of Tacoma. It's a big amount of people that live down there. Or up there, I should say. Here in Tacoma, by 2040, that number, which I said currently is at 13,000, and probably next year it's going to be about 15,000 when you add in, like I just mentioned, that 800 units that was not counted. Keep in mind, in 2023, 24 retail-type businesses opened in downtown Tacoma alone. That's just in the downtown core, right? So downtown core, a little bit up, that is basically what has opened in the last year. So basically 2 a month. In 2040, downtown Tacoma is expected to have a population of about 67,000 people. Let me find the numbers here. 1 second. Make sure my stuff is accurate. 1 second here. Okay, yes, I was actually incorrect. It's supposed to have 67,900 new jobs in that region that I showed you. So that downtown regional growth area, is supposed to produce 67,900 new jobs by 2040 and is planned to grow to 76,200 new residents in downtown Tacoma by 2040. Now, I don't see how that is possible. Now, I'm not saying that the figures and everything is not correct, right? Because there's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes that you don't know about until it's later, but we are growing at a very fast clip. There's no question about that. We have a lot of people from Seattle, especially black folks who are up in Seattle looking at Tacoma more often because we have become a hub for the black ecosystem. And any ecosystem, to be honest with you, but especially in terms of the black ecosystem. It's growing here. And so you're seeing a lot of people move here because of all the job growth that we do have and because it's a lot more practical in terms of finances and it's not stuck. If you look at Portland recently, it is stuck. It's losing people. Seattle is losing people. Tacoma is gaining people. So it is the one city, bigger city, that's growing relatively fast. I would say, I don't know about Bellevue, but Tacoma's probably the fastest larger city that we have in the state. When I say larger city, I'm talking a city that's at least 200,000. So if we're talking Spokane, Seattle, and Tacoma, which are the ones that are only about 200,000, we're probably the fastest growing. Bellevue's issue is because it's so expensive. And there's not a lot that it can really do. Tacoma, on the other hand, it's a big, broad city. And it has a lot of room. But the problem with that is It cannot accommodate 147,000 new people that should be coming here in 2040, of which 74,000 of them are going to be living downtown. Imagine what 74,000 new people living in downtown Tacoma or the downtown regional center, what that would look like. Right now we're at 13 to 15,000, 12 to 15,000, let's say. But imagine it growing 5 times that size, right? Or not 5 times, but 3 times that size. That is a tremendous amount of people who will be downtown. Now, some people will say, how? How are they going to move these people around? That's the reason why the Tacoma Link Light Rail is so important, because some people think it's a waste of time, waste of money, but most of the growth in Tacoma is going to happen in this particular downtown regional center. There's no other place. Most other places in Tacoma are going to be single-family homes or something. There's no room. The only opportunities are in the areas I mentioned. Sure, you can have where someone will knock down a house and put up a duplex, or they'll do some stuff, or ADUs and all that, but that's not going to be enough to really do much in terms of the flood of people that will come here. We have a lot of people that move here from places like Portland. We have a lot of people that move here from places like Seattle, but also from California. The biggest crop of people are moving here from California. Now, some people, they don't like the cloudy days and all of that, and that's a thing. But when you look at everything else, the quality of life in Tacoma is pretty solid. And all of the struggle that we went through in the past seemed to be panning out for the good. Now, had interest rates and all the crazy not happened, I think Tacoma would be much farther along. There's projects that are kind of stalled because of financing and all the Fed interest rates that went up, and now they're trying to, get financing again, and banks are a little bit less likely to loan and lend. So it's holding things up, but we're still getting more and more development that is happening. Right now, we have a little bit of an absorption issue. So developers want to see some of these apartments be taken offline a little faster, but I think we're going to see that. We've seen we've seen offices just get sucked up. A friend of mine owns a co-working space. He put the co-working space on the market, and a month later he has pretty much just 5 out of, I forget how many spaces he had. He had a lot. He only has 5 spaces left, and he had like 60, just like that, because there's not enough quality office buildings. Now, we do need developers here building office buildings, and I see a few go up here and there, and they're small little private office buildings, but we need actual office development in Tacoma in order to accommodate the growth. We need taller residential buildings to accommodate the growth. Otherwise, I don't see how we're going to be able to satisfy that need, and it's crunch time. So while people say that we have an absorption issue, I think that's a temporary situation. I think that what you're going to see as we go, especially in this summer, and we start looking towards 2025, is a rocket of people moving into the area, especially once we get things kind of sorted out. National politics, local stuff, all those things really do affect things. But I think that once all that stuff gets solved and kind of is behind us, you're going to see a lot more people who are looking to move here, and we already see it. I know 3-4 people now that are not from here that moved in just recently, right? I know them personally, and they moved here. So we're seeing more and more of an influx of people. You definitely see it downtown, more and more people. And as we open up a lot of these apartments, again, 800 units, that's 1,600 people. For our downtown, that's a big deal. You don't see a lot of it yet because, again, we're talking the downtown regional center, which is huge. Dome District all the way over to Hilltop is a big area, right? I got to check and see what the square mileage on that is. I know the regular downtown core is about a little less than a square mile, right? So not very, very big. This area here is probably about as big as downtown Seattle, right? If you look at the surface area, if not bigger. So it's possible. I'm not saying it's impossible to have that many people living. Just how far behind we are is going to take a tremendous amount of building to get to that point in that short amount of time. Not saying it's impossible, but it's likely. Now, other estimates say that probably by 2040, downtown's population will go from where it is 13,000 up to 30,000 people, which is still a lot of people. If you look at that area, it doesn't matter. It's basically half. They're saying it'll grow by, half of what they're claiming. But that's still a tremendous amount of people, a lot on the infrastructure, and a very crowding effect. Downtown, you're going to start seeing it become more and more crowded. You're seeing more and more businesses, as I mentioned, just in 2023. Retail businesses. This is not offices opening up and none of that. Because again, I just told you about a guy that opened up a place, and if you count all those offices, that's at least 40 or 50 companies that moved into downtown just in one one project, right? But I'm talking retail businesses, 23, and I count restaurants in that. 23, or no, I'm sorry, 24, and even 24 opened in downtown, not the downtown regional center, but directly in a very narrow footprint of what they consider downtown is. That right under, it's 0.98 square miles, so right under a square mile. That's a lot. But that will continue to escalate up as we start getting more and more and more people moving in, and we're seeing more and more projects continue to break ground. I saw another dozer move over to a plot of land that a developer is almost finishing up on one building, and they're going to break ground on this other one, probably here in the next few months. The one thing we're holding out hope for is the Tacoma Town Center. That big giant piece of land needs to be financed. It's a $300 to $400 million project. Safe to say $500 million needs to goes toward this. To be honest with you, I think the amount of apartments that are there are too low. I think you probably need somewhere in the neighborhood of about 1,000 apartments. I think that the original plan for the square footage of retail should stay, so about 200 to maybe 230,000 square feet should be sufficient. Why? We need enough retail to accommodate all of the people that would be living down here. And current structure in terms of building mixed use is not going to really satisfy that. But anyhow, tell me what your thoughts are. Do you think that Tacoma is going to be able to handle that many people downtown in this regional center, right? Which includes, again, Hilltop all the way to the Dome. Can it, all the way up from Stadium to the Brewery District, can it handle the additional large number of people, either 70-something thousand people or 30,000 people, in addition to what it already has? No matter how you slice it, the total population down there is going to be hovering around 50,000 people at best, all the way up to the extreme, which could be somewhere in the neighborhood of 80 to 90,000 people, or rival very close to the current population of downtown Seattle. It sounds improbable, but that's the only areas where Tacoma will be able to grow. And the price points, I will add this, for housing down here is by far cheaper still. And because of everything that has gone on in terms of interest rates, there's a lull in the price. So the prices have went down, but they're starting to go back up again. So if you're looking to move to Tacoma and you're wanting a house, you probably want to jump on that very, very quickly. The second thing is if you're wanting to move here and just be in the area, because again, there's all these measures talking about how folks are getting priced out of Tacoma and getting pushed out, and that's the case. That is the case. But if you want to get in as early as you can, and you know that you're going to be moving here, you probably want to consider doing that sooner rather than later. Tell me what your thoughts are. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and comment. Until next time, I will see you. Take care.